Today we're going to go over how to make this cap using Crocodile Crust Leather. Let's begin. First, print out your template. Depending on the size of the leather you got, you're going to probably need 2 of these. I got this leather from the Springfield Leather Company for about $30 each. Cut out your pattern and tape them down. Plan this out accordingly, take your time. I already cut out one piece. That's what it should look like. I'm using a 1mm hole punch. Take your time with this because the scales are tough and you don't want to have the hole punch somewhere else. This is a 1/4 inch hole punch, and this will be for the eyelets that go around the hat. And this is about a 2.5mm hole punch. This is for the rivets. Take your time cutting this out because those scales are tough. I started out with the razor blade just to outline it, and then I removed the pattern and decided to continue the cut with some leather shears. And just do the other pieces the same way. For this, I'm using 4 to 5 ounce veg tan leather. This will be the underside of the hat, kind of hold everything together. You can use a thinner leather if you want, make the hat more flimsy. For the sweatband, I'm using only 2 to 3 ounce chrome tan leather, going around with a 1mm hole punch. For the brim of the hat, I'm combining crocodile leather and some veg tan leather. I'm going to glue them together using barge cement. This will make the brim of the hat more firm. So once you cut both pieces, let it dry for about 10 to 15 minutes, and press the 2 firmly together. You're going to have to re-punch the holes and go around and cut it out. Here I'm using a beveler, round out those edges. Then I wet down the edges with a damp sponge, and then rounding those edges over with a burnishing tool. So now you should have all your pieces cut out, and it's time for the dyeing process. For this project, I'm using Orion calf dye and mixing up black and white together to give myself a gray color. Make sure to fill in all the gaps and holes, and if you want to dye the backside too so it's not just white, go right ahead. And now I'm taking a sponge and lightly going around with the black dye, and I'm hitting all the high spots with black dye. Make those scales pop out a little bit. I'm just lightly pressing. I'm not pressing too hard. Just hard enough to hit those high spots. I'm using Pro Dye for the sweatband inside the hat. You can continue using the Orion dye if you wanted to, but I just had more of this on hand. Now that the pieces have dried for a bit, now is the time to polish it up. I'm using a polishing brush, usually used on boots. how much it shines now that you polished it up. For the edges, I'm using some Tokonole. Just kind of finish it off using my burnishing tool. Using some 1/4 inch eyelets. These will be like breathing holes to the hat, allow some airflow. This is the layout in which you will have. Pay attention to the edges of the strips. The angle and the angle of the top of the hat should line up. Make sure to count the holes. And make sure you have 1 hole left at the bottom. Leave that one open. I'm using a straight stitch on the front and then a cross stitch on the back. Continue all the way across. Now when you reach the other side, just add on the other strip, making sure you skip that last hole on the bottom. The end, cut it off, and burn off the end. From here on out, it's pretty much the same steps, just going around. Make sure for these two pieces they're the same except for the hole on the bottom right here. Make sure that's pointed towards the back because that is a rivet hole for the buckle. Now make sure the angle of this strip is angled like this. Make sure it lines up. So these pieces look similar, but they're not. Now you have the main body of the hat done. Put a large rivet in the middle. You may have to punch a hole through the top just to get it through. The brim of the hat. I am only stitching the outer rim. Leave the inside alone. You'll stitch that together when you're putting the hat together. For the sweatband, skip the first hole. Go one hole in, because later you're going to fold it over, and start stitching the sweatband around the hat. Now for the brim of the hat, you can choose to put it on the outside of the hat or on the inside. I guess it's just personal preference that I chose to do it on the outside. Whatever looks best to you. And that's what it should look like when you reach the end. If you have enough thread left over, keep it intact until you rivet these down. Riveting down the back strap. The strap that will contain the buckle, only rivet down one side. Leave one side open. Punching down one on this side, because later you're going to fold that over. The little loop that holds the strap in place once it's buckled. Now's the time to put the buckle in place. You're going to have to re-punch the hole through the sweatband to get your rivet through. You're going to need to use a large rivet through this because this got quite thick. Have it. You just made yourself a hat using crocodile crust leather. This was one of my more complicated builds, so if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and contact me. Thanks for watching.